time and grade.
That's time and service now.
Yeah, it says time and grade.
I know, but they changed, see where they highlighted the numbers?
So you want
Because for officers, it's always check.
What's your final?
So they're not all.
So check this out. The difference between.
Let us know if you see anything wacky. It's hard to do it on the fly. Yeah, yes.
Well, my nothing was changed. It's 6 year one.
They're still finding it's 3%.
So that's all. I could tell you the housing.
On some of them, they did, on others it didn't. You can tell it changed here, here was percent increase. One's like it's got a 3% increase there.
Jay's changed. Brandon's went from 36 to.
Reds wasn't done. Reds is on.
Yeah, Reddit still got them as a 3% for time and grade instead of this.
It has 13.
Do you want to pull that up and?
Yeah, I'll fix it.
I'll be right back.
Mike's changed.
Yes, Dave's changed.
So did Dave.
All right.
Mine's changed.
Doesn't look like Mahalco's is accurate either.
Good. Give me a sec.
You're good.
out where the flaw is.
I just want you to tell me how it's gonna go with that cat once you get it.
Don't talk
You
about
guys
it.
are, yeah, you're making me feel like I made the wrong choice
Let it
there.
happen.
It's gonna need kitty Prozac.
Let it have it. Actually, the cat's very calm. TW was holding the other day, and she fell asleep right here. That's fine. It's cat. Kid that's floating around, his hands are up and on the neck. CSO's going.
Yeah, it's only charging him
It's not-
50%,
it's not
but that might be
important, but it's
because they feel like it's too far along, but that might not be, it's just, it's far more complicated than just like, here, and just, you slave over these worksheets and your eyes just go across circles.
There's a reason I'm not in math.
Well, you have an HR degree, not a mathematics,
I guess maybe
but,
some.
yeah.
Well, don't you have the math person right over there?
Wait, that was for your P test.
She's gone, she moved out, she's like, I'm done.
Send us every day, and this is probably one of those things.
That's a lot of numbers that I
Yep.
don't understand.
Oh, what did I say?
Well, two.
The reason you use those cheaters when you had to read it.
I was 34 once.
I do the same thing, I'm like struggling to read something, I'm like,
Yeah, and I forget that I have
they're
them
right
on.
here.
The other day, I was like,
I think I'm just gonna manually.
I was causing a stink in the house, and I'm
You know, it's not that big a deal, it'll get fixed down the road.
Yeah, I will, but I think Brett would like to know.
I go, okay.
No, Red doesn't care, I told him to
No, I
take
mean,
it.
I know they'll take more time and service versus time and grade.
just see if you would look me in the eyes, figure it
Yeah,
out.
but comparatively, would like to know where you'd be at with others.
So we did-
And I'm the only guy that really doesn't get affected because I am here to serve.
And you said Mahalka was the other one?
Yeah, well, Hulka's
Yeah,
definitely
well,
right.
yeah, me, Ryan, and.
Because he's only getting 4.88 on 15 years. But it's easy enough to guesstimate. It's not that big a deal to have the numbers exact. For us. For you guys, it kind of is.
Chart.
It should be slightly above the one below it.
You'd be surprised how these things come out. It's never just, hey, this is the number. Alright, where does he land after $1.29?
Yeah, Charles. Yeah.
Yes. That's what it should be. Yeah.
And you know, the formula might be putting him at 3%, 2.88%. That might be correct based on the formula and where he's falling in the time with the pay grade and his years of service. That might end up being the correct one. So that's something you gotta think about, the way the formula's laying out. So that's why I'm saying it, that might be what it is with the years of service.
Who, for who?
I'm double checking.
Oh,
What I'm
okay.
saying is if that's how it plays out, then that's.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, but
calculation.
it just,
I'm double checking.
I would think that it would be more than a 40-cent difference.
So that's even with the mistakes, it makes it a lot better to you guys than better.
Right, but that's where we said that we want you to look at it to see if this is the solution you guys are looking for. Is it something else you're looking for, then let's discuss.
No, doing it this way gives the guys that have taken the promotions what they deserve and helps to institute accepting promotions down the road because it shows that this is the way the city's gonna do things moving forward. No one's not gonna take a promotion just based on a contract coming up to be in time and grade versus time and service. Is that accurate? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really.
You
what
get
we're-
paid for the time that you put in here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's rewarding you for being here a length of time and showing that commitment.
And I'd assume because of the time and grade increases, there's a lot of reasons why people aren't willing to take it. Because they're
One of the reasons.
See, for me, based on my age, it made sense for me to get promoted, because it was the only way I was gonna get a raise and take on leadership.
For others,
Right, but if I've been here 15 years, you're gonna knock me back down to, you know.
you're gonna take a raise and then get a time and grade of 2 years and go, let's put a raise. Just making sure I understood it right too.
I see an 86.
Where do we lose Claire?
I don't know where Claire went.
She said she went upstairs, so I don't know if she went out.
Yeah, we're doing back and forth on negotiations right now.
Yeah. We were just making sure. Good Lord, Kyle.
It's not more spicy where it is.
I know. You know you're not, you know the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? Grumpy?
Oh, yeah.
You know Greg?
Great.
Goofy.
No, he had a
He told his wife he'd take her somewhere today, and he tried to get out of it, and she tried to castrate him. So he said, I'm gonna take her. Yeah. I thought so. We're still gonna get some help, and if we get this done, we're gonna tell him we got it done because he wasn't there.
I need to get a course.
Mark, there's a benefit to getting it done today. We get to tell Greg that we got it done because he wasn't here. There you go.
He's been the opposite for a while.
We're gonna.
Not sure where we lost Claire to, but sort of waiting for her.
Oh, all good.
So, okay, if I do it manually for red,
They'll never do it.
the bottom of the pay grade, which pending everything, that for corporals would be $52,437.84. That's with the dollar. It's $1.73 with the dollar, bringing the bottom up to $24.01 starting, right? Wait, no, that's officers. Sorry, give me a second. Spoke too soon. Give me a second. That's corporal. That's not. I was doing officer salary. Hold on. Yeah, I was like, that's not.
Are you
right.
taking
I'm like, hold
money
on,
away from
hold
Red
on.
here? Because that sounds like where we were going.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna be agreeable
I've
to
been
We're all
that.
right,
an
screw a
officer
rep for
for
everybody else, that's
officer
fine.
Excellent.
I'm not doing Forstner.
We didn't do
No,
more.
we're not going down that
We're done with Forstner. Such a good mood.
Yeah, I can't solve that problem right now. So I'm manually doing it. I can't solve that right now without like unloading the spreadsheet and
Finally, he was indeed.
All right.
So I was gonna calculate it. But I need to look at paying classification to find out what total starting is.
He was 15, he was so 10.
And then I started talking and I was like, oh.
Don't you hate that when you talk and hear yourself?
And I'm like,
Wait
oh,
a
never
minute.
mind.
Second
That's
thought,
not
second
what
thought, let me roll out
it
of
Don't worry, I did that earlier today too.
Yeah.
I promise, I know what I'm talking about.
Hey, let's get shape, guys.
See, that's the benefit of being me, I don't. I just make it up.
Yeah, you just make it up as you go.
Way too much liability.
No, they take everything apart when you're in HR.
That's true.
I can't think of the high school, it's 20
Alright,
years.
corporal is.
So I think what's happening, we see, one, it's not as easy to crunch these numbers, and we were sort of rushing through that, even though we took extra time, which we appreciate. It's, every time you push a button, it moves some other numbers, so we don't want to make a mistake or, you know, make a decision without making sure we have the time, but.
No, and these are just samples only, we understand that, and I think the guys, if I'm not mistaken, they've pretty much been all agreeable to the time and service. They think it does help with the compression a lot better.
And I've talked to a few of the guys that, like you were talking about, that some people are gonna be making more. they've been here. So that's,
So that's something we can tweak and work on, but, you know, of the things you talked about, you know, we're potentially close, but again, you know, we're looking at the whole deal. So you talked about retro, we're not prepared to agree to that, but we are prepared to consider that if we can get this done. This, you know, going to time in service is something we're obviously looking at, if that's the best way to skin the cat. Like you're seeing just from preliminary numbers, it's, you know, some are, looks like are at 11, 12, 13%, and some are at 3%. So, you know, is that what you want? We can look at the detail of those numbers. There might be a way to spend similar dollars, but spread it out differently. So, but again, that's within the realm of working through. Your proposal for 2024 is interesting. That's something we definitely can consider, going to the 80 from 84 with no other increase for 2024. So, and the 5% for the 4 specialty, again, we're willing to consider it. Need to sort of see the cost, because each thing individually may not look like a lot, but when you start compounding and adding up, well, you give this, and what if we do this and this and this, and all of a sudden, you know, the numbers do start sort of blending together, and, you know, turn out to be big numbers. So one thing standing by itself may seem innocuous, but, you know, we can't agree to everything, so to speak, because it all has a cost. But having said that, I'd say, you know, everything you're talking about is in the realm of possible, you know, getting this done. So, not the least of which, I guess we need to sort of talk about the pension issue. Because, as I said, we're trying to put a lot of money into this, which means there isn't a lot of money to do other things. You know, we hope this is, again, showing the membership, you guys in the membership, that we're serious about getting it done, we're serious about being competitive. And I know there's a balance between, you know, whether it's money, you know, what's gonna bring people in, is it the higher pay or the pension? You know, we could debate that all day, and it might be different for every person. So there's no clear answer, right or wrong answer on that, but let's talk about that. Let's move on to that, because this is gonna tie into that, obviously, on both sides, your side. But again, we try to make this strong package to try to help get movement from you all, realizing that pension's important, but that we're really trying to put the money into the wage package and make sure, I mean, those increases, as we talk, when you look at percentages, are pretty extraordinary, really. I don't, you know, again, I think they really put us in a top position there. But pension, I mean, I'll start with, you know, at this point, changing the tiers, I think we made clear last time, is not something the board feels could or should be done this time. Doesn't mean in the future it's not an ongoing conversation, that it can be an ongoing conversation. But at this point, we don't have that direction. But is there something else with pensioners? You made some passing references to other types of proposals or thoughts you had, both as you were leaving the room last time and then in writing. So is there something else that can help get this done on pensions, short of, you know, changing the tiers?
It's not a proposal, and I'll give you the documents that can be signed.
As one mediator says, it's a supposal, I guess, suppose.
So basically what we've done is we've provided you with the foster and foster estimate, ultimately raising the city contribution. If everyone were on the tier 1 pension, the city's contribution would be 35.3%. So in looking at Florida statute 185.35 and 185.07, if we were to sign those letters and provide them to the city. The city would be giving up approximately, from 2021, 79,000 or 75,000 in 1A5 monies. And for the pension contribution, it would be stuck at 5% rather than 9%. The other two separate documents. So essentially what that does, in doing some rough math, is if the city were to keep the pension the way it is, and the officers signed that and filed it with the city's pension contribution would be 36% approximately. The officers are willing to continue paying the higher than 5%. They're willing to consent to that and willing to consent to the 185 monies going over by getting everyone into the Tier 1 pension, which would make the city contribution 35.3%, which would be less than if they just withdraw their consent for the city to get the 9% contribution and the 185 monies. If that makes sense to you. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
That's not what this document is, though.
That's what those two documents together are. Those two documents
I
would be
thought they were
documents.
the same thing, I'm sorry, I passed
Nope.
one down, so I thought
Yep.
the same thing.
Those two documents would be, if Rhett were to sign those today, the city would only be able to take out 5% pension contribution, and the city would have to do the 185 monies pursuant to the statute. Because anything above 5% is solely upon consent of the officers.
So, on the one, on the frozen amount, what do you believe that proposal means? What's the number that would be the frozen amount under that?
The number for the frozen amount would be the I believe it was the 2012 amount of $287,784.55. And that's just based off of a prior note, which I believe is accurate. Yes. Yeah, and that was in 2015. That's what the statute referred to as the that frozen amount. The amount received in the 2012 calendar year, which for Ormond was, I believe, $287,784.